The carpet is gray. Industrial gray, the kind that swallows light and muffles sound, like the air is thick with unspoken things. My shoes, the sensible black heels I've worn into this building for 10 years, make no noise as I step onto it. The silence in this meeting room isn't normal. It hums, a low frequency of dread that vibrates in my teeth. He sits across the polished, sterile table. My husband.
Mark.
His face is pale, tight around the jaw. Beside him, she sits.
Sarah.
Her eyes, usually so bright with borrowed confidence, are fixed on her hands clasped in her lap. A strand of her too blonde hair has fallen across her cheek. I want to reach across the table, not to brush it away, but to yank it out by the root. The air conditioner kicks on a sudden, sharp hiss that makes me jump. Mark clears his throat. The sound is amplified in the quiet room, loud and grating.
He won't look at me.
He looks at the wall, at the framed corporate values poster that now feels like a sick joke. Collaboration. Integrity.
Growth.
My stomach is a knot of cold, hard lead. I know why I'm here. The whispers have been louder than the hum of the AC lately. The late nights, the hushed phone calls, the way his hand brushes hers in the break room. I've seen it, or pieces of it, fragments that didn't fit the picture I'd carefully constructed of my life. Now, the full, ugly mosaic is laid out before me on this silent, gray carpet. My heart is beating too fast, a frantic bird trapped in my chest. I can feel the blood pounding in my ears, drowning out the distant city noise filtering through the double-paned windows. The light coming through those windows is harsh, unforgiving. It glints off the water carafe on the table, distorting the glass into a strange, alien shape. Sarah shifts in her seat. The faint rustle of her dress sounds like 1,000 brittle leaves scattering on dry pavement. She still won't look up. Coward. Mark finally lowers his gaze. His eyes meet mine, and they are empty. Not angry, not sad, just empty. Like looking into two gray stones. This is worse than anger. Anger would mean there was something left, some flicker of the man I married. This is just detachment. Clinical. He speaks, and his voice is steady, professional. It's the voice he uses for board meetings, for difficult clients. It's not the voice of my husband. We need to make some changes, he says. The words hang in the air, heavy and final, based on performance and future strategic direction. We've decided to restructure your role. Restructure. The corporate euphemism for throwing you onto the scrap heap. My role. My role in the company I helped build. The role I poured my life into. The late nights, the missed dinners, the sacrifices I made for us, for this. My breath catches in my throat. I want to scream. I want to laugh, a harsh, bitter sound that echoes the absurdity of this moment. My own husband, firing me, with his mistress sitting right there. He continues, a monologue of corporate jargon that feels like a physical assault. Words like optimization, synergy, alignment with core objectives, each word is a tiny blade, twisting in the wound that is rapidly tearing open in my chest. He gestures toward Sarah. She finally lifts her head, offering a small, tentative smile that doesn't reach her eyes. It's a performance. A weak, unconvincing performance. Sarah will be stepping into a leadership position, he says. Effective immediately. She brings a fresh perspective, a different skill set that we believe is necessary for the path forward. My blood runs cold. Not just fired. Replaced. By her. The woman he's been screwing behind my back is taking my job.
My job.
My identity. My contribution to the life we built together. The lead in my stomach solidifies into a dense, crushing weight. I can feel the color draining from my face. My hands, resting on the table, are trembling slightly. I clench them into fists, the nails digging into my palms. I need something to ground me, something real in this surreal nightmare. You're firing me, I say. My voice is quiet, almost a whisper, but it cuts through his drone of corporate nonsense. He flinches slightly. It's the first sign of anything human. We're restructuring your position, he corrects, that steady, awful voice back in place. It means your employment with the company is terminated. Terminated. The word hangs there cold and clinical. Like I'm a piece of equipment that's malfunctioned. Like the decade of my life I gave to this place, to him, means nothing. I look at Sarah again. Her smile is gone. Her eyes dart between me and Mark. She looks nervous, trapped.
Good.
I hope she feels it. I hope she feels a fraction of the pain searing through me. And she's taking my job, I state, my voice gaining strength a low, dangerous hum. Mark finally looks uncomfortable. He shifts in his chair. It's a different role, he hedges. Expanded responsibilities. Expanded responsibilities for the woman you're sleeping with.
Right.
The truth is a bitter pill, and they're trying to coat it in corporate sugar. My eyes lock onto his. I don't see the man I loved, the man who promised forever. I see a stranger, a betrayer, a coward hiding behind a desk and a woman who sits silently by his side. Get out, I say. My voice is steady now, cold as the lead in my stomach. Both of you, just get out. Mark looks surprised. Sarah looks terrified. They expected tears, hysterics maybe. They didn't expect this quiet, controlled fury. We need to discuss severance, Mark starts. There's nothing to discuss, I interrupt, my voice rising slightly. You made your decision. Now live with it. Get out of my sight. I stand up. The chair scrapes against the gray carpet, a harsh, defiant sound. I walk to the window, turning my back on them. The city stretches out below, indifferent to the implosion happening 30 floors up. The sun is bright, glinting off the glass towers, a cruel contrast to the darkness engulfing me. I stand there for a long moment, listening to the rustling, the quiet murmurs as they gather their things, the soft click of the door closing behind them. They leave me in the silent, empty room. Terminated. The silence floods back in, heavier this time. It presses in on me, suffocating. The air feels thin. I close my eyes, focusing on the feeling of the sun warm on my face through the glass. I breathe in, a shaky, ragged breath. I breathe out. This is it. The end of the life I knew. The end of my marriage. The end of my career as I knew it. Everything gone in a few cold sentences. But something else is rising, slow and hot, beneath the cold lead and the crushing weight. A hard, bright spark. It's not despair. It's not just pain. It's something harder. Something sharper. Let me know where you're watching from and what time it is. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. It helps me more than you know. Before Mark, before Sarah, before the gray carpet and the empty eyes, there was just
Me.
me and a drive that felt limitless. I met Mark when this company was little more than an idea sketched on a napkin in a noisy bar. He had the vision, the charismatic pitch. I had the grind, the structure, the ability to make the vision a reality. We were a team. A powerhouse, people called us. Mark was the face, the dreamer. I was the engine, the architect. I built the departments from the ground up. I hired the talent, negotiated the contracts, streamlined the processes. While he was out schmoozing potential clients or raising capital, I was inside, making the machine run. I loved it. Every chaotic day, every impossible deadline, every small victory felt like a brick laid in a foundation we were building together. Our home life was woven into the company. Dinner conversations were about market strategy. Anniversaries were sometimes celebrated with clients. Vacations were planned around conference schedules. It was intense, all-consuming, and for years it felt right. It felt like we were forging something significant, a legacy. Our marriage, the company, they were intertwined, two branches of the same strong tree. Or so I thought. Looking back, I see the cracks now. The increasing distance, the late nights that weren't about work, the way he stopped talking about the granular details of the business, the things I actually built. I dismissed them. Stress, I told myself. The pressure of growth. Every marriage has its dips. I worked harder, trying to compensate, trying to be supportive, trying to be the wife and partner he needed. I just didn't realize he was finding what he needed elsewhere. Sarah came on board 6 months ago, fresh out of some fancy MBA program, bright-eyed, eager. She was assigned to a junior role in marketing. I barely noticed her at first, just another face in the growing crowd of employees. Mark started interacting with marketing more, he said. A new focus. I was busy wrestling with supply chain issues, intricate budgeting, important, critical work, the kind that keeps the lights on, even if it wasn't glamorous. Then came the subtle shifts. Mark's door was closed more often when Sarah was in his office. Hushed laughter from behind the glass. They started leaving at the same time, heading towards the parking garage. He'd offer a casual explanation later. Oh, Sarah needed a ride downtown. Or just grabbing a coffee. She happened to be heading out too. Lies, now so obvious they felt like neon signs in my memory. My normal life was a carefully constructed facade, built on a foundation that was being systematically eroded beneath my feet. I was too close to see it clearly, too invested in the narrative I had created. The successful couple, the power team, building an empire together. The truth was uglier, simpler, and infinitely more devastating. He was having an affair with a junior employee, and he was about to replace me with her. The meeting room is silent again. The city hums outside. The framed corporate values poster mocks me from the wall. Integrity, loyalty, teamwork, all lies. I walk back to the table. My briefcase is still there, sitting innocently on the sterile surface. I pick it up. It feels heavy, weighted with the decade of my life it contains. My hand luggage of being fired. I don't go back to my office. There's nothing for me there anymore. It's already hers, in spirit if not yet in furniture arrangement. I walk out of the meeting room, past the hushed, curious faces of the employees who were once my colleagues, my team. Their eyes follow me, full of pity, or gossip, or morbid curiosity. I keep my gaze straight ahead. I won't give them the satisfaction of seeing me break. Not here. The elevator ride down 30 floors is agonizingly slow. Each floor passed is a layer of my past peeling away. My achievements, my relationships, my entire professional identity, dissolving floor by floor. When the doors finally open into the lobby, the air feels different. Thinner. Colder. I am outside but not free. Just outside. Cast out. Stepping onto the busy city street, the noise hits me like a physical wave. Taxis honking, sirens wailing, the endless murmur of people. It's a stark contrast to the sterile quiet of the office. I feel exposed, raw, like my skin has been peeled away and the city air is biting at my nerves. My phone rings in my pocket. I already know who it is.
Mark.
Probably damage control. Trying to explain, to justify, to minimize. I ignore it. It rings again. And again. I silence it. There is nothing he can say. Nothing. Where do you go when the place you built, the life you shared, has just been torn down by the person you built it with? Home? Our home? The place filled with memories of a man who no longer exists or perhaps never did. I don't go home. I walk. I walk for hours, through streets that blur into a meaningless urban landscape. My feet ache. My mind is a chaotic storm of disbelief, anger, and pain. The betrayal is a physical ache, centered in my chest, spreading outwards, making it hard to breathe. He fired me. My husband fired me, and gave my job to his mistress. The sheer audacity of it is staggering. The cold, calculated cruelty. It's not just professional termination, it's personal annihilation. He didn't just end my job. He tried to erase my existence within the world we shared, the world I helped create. He must have thought I would crumble, that I would disappear quietly, licking my wounds, maybe taking some settlement money and finding some lesser job elsewhere. He underestimated me. He always did, beneath the surface of his charming words. He saw my hard work as supporting his genius, never acknowledging that my engine is what powered his vision. The first few days are a blur of pain and numbness. The divorce papers arrive, delivered by a stony-faced messenger. They are as cold and clinical as his voice in that meeting room. Standard clauses, asset division, mention of the company as his primary asset. My decade of blood, sweat, and tears reduced to a footnote, a marital contribution to his property. Anger, sharp and hot, cuts through the numbness. He thinks he can just write me out? Write me out of the company? Write me out of the life we built? Write me out of the narrative? Not a chance. I start talking to lawyers. Not just divorce lawyers, but corporate lawyers. I want to understand everything. The company structure, the shareholding, the possibilities. They tell me about my options. Fighting for a bigger settlement. Exposing the affair, though legally complicated and messy. Trying to prove I was essential to the company's success. Difficult when your role is being eliminated. None of it feels right. None of it gives me back what was stolen. Seeing them together is a new level of torture. At first, it's accidental. Passing their car near the office. A glimpse through a restaurant window. Then it feels deliberate. He posts pictures on social media, carefully curated images of them at company events, looking like the new power couple. Sarah smiling brightly, leaning into him. Posing in the offices that were once mine, where my presence is now being scrubbed away like a stain. It's a calculated move. To legitimize their relationship, to present a united front, to rub my face in it. Each picture is a fresh wave of nausea, a new jab in an already open wound. They're building their future on the ruins of mine. I try applying for jobs. My resume is impressive, packed with achievements, growth metrics, successful projects. But the interviews are awkward. Why did you leave your previous role? Is the inevitable question. How do I explain? My husband, the CEO, fired me to give my job to his mistress? The words are too surreal, too scandalous. I try to keep it professional, citing a restructuring, but the industry is small.
People talk.
There's a palpable hesitation, a look in their eyes that says, damaged goods, my reputation, tied so closely to his company, is now tainted by his betrayal. The early struggles deepen. It's not just emotional pain. It's a loss of identity, a loss of purpose, a loss of the future I had planned. Every morning is a blank space, where before there was a demanding, exciting schedule. The silence in my apartment is deafening, amplifying the turmoil in my head. Friends offer sympathy, but they don't understand the specific, intricate agony of being erased by the one person who is supposed to be your partner in everything. The money from our joint accounts is frozen, part of the divorce proceedings. I have my own savings, built carefully over the years, but accessing significant capital is difficult. My own financial security, tied up with our life, is now a weapon in his arsenal. The company email list is still linked on my old phone. I don't check it, not at first. Too painful. But one restless night, weeks into this nightmare, I open it. It's a flood of mundane corporate communication. Announcements about new initiatives, project updates, and emails from Sarah. She's sending out directives, leading meetings, presenting herself as the new force within the company. Reading her name, seeing her signature on internal memos, is like a physical blow. She's not just in my life. She's in my email inbox, running the show I built. I start digging. Not just for dirt on their affair. That feels petty, though the urge is strong. I start digging into the company financials, the structure, the investors. My access is limited now, but I know where to look. I have contacts, people who owe me favors, people who are loyal to me. They feed me scraps of information. Things are shifting. Mark is making aggressive moves, changing direction, pouring money into new, risky ventures that feel impulsive, not strategic. Sarah's name is on a lot of expense reports, travel. To places Mark was also traveling. The affair is no longer just gossip. It's a visible pattern, entangled with company resources. This isn't just personal. This is business. Mismanagement. Using company funds, company time, company influence. For their personal liaison. The sharp, cold spark I felt in the meeting room flares into a focused fire. This isn't just about revenge. This is about justice. About reclaiming what is rightfully mine, not just emotionally, but tangibly. The idea is audacious. Insane, probably. It whispers at first, a faint, impossible suggestion in the back of my mind. Buy the company. My company. The thought takes root. It grows, nourished by the anger, the betrayal, the burning need to undo the wrong that has been done. It seems impossible.
How?
I have savings, yes, but nowhere near the capital required to buy a company of that size. Mark controls the board, the major shareholders.
He wouldn't sell to me.
He'd fight it tooth and nail. But the idea won't let go. It becomes an obsession. I research. I read everything I can about mergers and acquisitions, about hostile takeovers, about corporate finance. I call more lawyers, different kinds of lawyers, M&A specialists, corporate governance experts. I ask hypothetical questions. If someone wanted to acquire a company, they explain the complexities, the valuation, the funding, the shareholder negotiations, the regulatory hurdles, the sheer difficulty of it, especially if the current management is resistant. It sounds insurmountable. Then I learned something critical. A significant portion of the company's early funding came from a group of venture capitalists who are now looking for an exit strategy. They've been with the company for over 8 years, well beyond their typical investment cycle. They are growing impatient with Mark's unpredictable strategic shifts, his focus seemingly elsewhere. They want a return, a good return, and they want it soon. This is a crack in the wall, a potential opening. My plan starts to take shape, tentative at first, then gaining horrifying clarity. I need capital. Lots of it. I need a team. Lawyers, financial advisors, people who know how to navigate the labyrinthine world of corporate finance and hostile takeovers. And I need leverage. Something that will make the current shareholders, especially the frustrated VCs, see me as a more viable option than the current leadership. Something that will make Mark's position precarious. The deepening crisis phase is long and brutal. It's a relentless cycle of hope and despair. I meet with potential investors. They listen politely, looking at my proposal, a detailed plan for the company's future, my vision for restoring its stability and growth. But they always come back to the same questions. The capital requirement is significant. Mark has control. This is highly unusual. Are you sure you can handle this given the personal history? The implication hangs in the air. My emotional state, my personal issues, make me a risk. They see the scandal, not the strategy. They see the jilted wife, not the CEO in waiting. It's frustrating, infuriating. I am more capable than Mark ever was. I understand this company's DNA better than anyone. My emotional investment isn't a weakness. It's a strength. It means I will fight for this company with a ferocity they can't comprehend. But convincing them? It feels like pushing a boulder uphill. Mark finds out I'm trying to raise capital. I don't know how, maybe one of my contacts, maybe a leak from a lawyer's office. He calls, his voice no longer cold, but laced with contempt. You're wasting your time, he says. You can't afford this. And even if you could, no one will back you. You're yesterday's news. His words are meant to crush me. Instead, they fuel the fire. He thinks he knows my limits. He thinks he can predict my actions.
He thinks he's won.
His arrogance is a weakness. He starts making defensive moves within the company, changing signing authorities, restructuring departments again, isolating key people who are loyal to me. He's trying to make it harder for me to get information, to build support internally. He's scared. Good. The financial challenges are immense. The numbers on the spreadsheet are staggering. The sheer volume of money needed feels impossible. My savings are a drop in the ocean. Banks are hesitant, given the personal angle, the potential instability. Investment firms want guarantees I can't provide, or terms that are predatory. There are days I want to give up. Days I sit alone in my apartment, the silence pressing in, the weight of it all crushing. The loneliness is profound. The future seems a dark, impassable road. The image of Mark and Sarah, comfortable in the world they stole from me, is a constant, gnawing pain. Is it worth it? This relentless struggle, this financial risk, this emotional wringer. Then I remember that meeting room. The gray carpet, the empty eyes. Her face, trying to hide her discomfort. I remember the feeling of being discarded, replaced, erased. I remember the decade of my life poured into that company. And the answer is always yes. It is worth it. I will not let them win. I will not let them bury me. The turning point comes unexpectedly after months of grinding effort and repeated setbacks. I've refined my plan, sharpening the financials, highlighting the weaknesses in Mark's current strategy, emphasizing my intimate knowledge of the company and my vision for stable, sustainable growth. I target a specific group of investors, not the flashy VCs looking for a quick flip, but a solid, old-money private equity firm known for hostile takeovers in traditional industries. They are ruthless, strategic, and driven by profit, not sentiment. My contact there is a seasoned partner named Eleanor. She's sharp, direct, and asks questions that cut to the bone. She doesn't care about my divorce, or Mark, or Sarah. She cares about the numbers. She sees the company's underlying value, the potential Mark is squandering. She sees my plan and she sees that it makes sense. Our final meeting is tense. We sit in a boardroom even colder and more imposing than the one where I was fired. The view is even higher, the city spread out like a map of potential. Eleanor doesn't waste time on pleasantries. Your proposal has merit, she says, her voice low and gravelly. The valuation is reasonable. Your plan for operational efficiency is sound. And frankly, she pauses, looking at me with an unnervingly steady gaze. Mark is making mistakes. Expensive ones. My heart rate quickens. This is it. But, she continues, this is a hostile bid. It will be messy.
Public.
Are you prepared for that? I meet her gaze. I am prepared for anything, I say. My voice is steady, betraying none of the turmoil inside. They took everything from me. I have nothing left to lose. She studies my face for a long moment, assessing. Then, a flicker of something I can't quite read crosses her features. Respect? Calculation?
Both, probably. We're in, she says.
The words hit me like a physical shock.
In.
After months of rejection, of fighting, of doubting, someone is finally in. They will provide the bulk of the capital. They will provide the legal and financial firepower. They will be the engine of this acquisition. And I will be the driver. A wave of relief washes over me, so powerful it almost brings me to my knees. But this isn't the end. It's just the beginning of the real fight. This is the turning point, the moment I stop reacting and start acting. I am no longer the victim. I am the aggressor. My determination solidifies into something hard and unbreakable, like diamond. They fired me. Now I'm buying the building. The next few weeks are a blur of intense activity. My team works around the clock, assembling the offer, finalizing the financing, preparing the legal documents. It feels like preparing for war. Every detail is scrutinized, every potential countermove anticipated. The bid is structured to appeal directly to the frustrated shareholders, especially the VC group. A premium price, offered in cash, providing them with the exit they desperately wanted. It's designed to be hard to refuse, a cleaner, faster return than waiting for Mark's risky long-term strategies to maybe pay off. The offer is made public early on a Monday morning. The news explodes like a bomb within the industry. The jilted ex-wife is launching a hostile takeover bid for the company she helped build. The headlines are sensational. The gossip is rampant. Mark is blindsided. He didn't see this coming. He expected me to disappear, to nurse my wounds in private. He never imagined I had the resources, the will, or the strategic mind to pull something like this off. He is quoted in the press, dismissive, arrogant, calling the bid meritless. A desperate act, an attempt to disrupt the company's forward momentum. He underestimates me again. His initial response is defensive, panicked. He calls board meetings trying to rally support, painting me as unstable, driven by revenge. But the numbers speak louder than his accusations. The offer is solid. It provides value to the shareholders he's been alienating. The days that follow are a tense standoff. Negotiations happen behind closed doors. My lawyers and financial experts deal with his cold and professional, discussing valuations and percentages, while the personal drama swirls outside. Mark tries to find a white knight, another buyer who will keep him in charge, but the timeline is short and my offer is strong. Sarah is still there in the office, presumably trying to carry on as if everything is normal. I see her name on press releases, standing by Mark's side at hastily arranged photo ops. They're trying to project an image of strength, but I know from my contacts inside that the atmosphere is chaotic, fearful. People are whispering, taking sides, updating their resumes. The crucial meeting is with the VC group. They hold the balance of power. My team presents our case, the financial stability of our offer, my proven track record, ignoring the messy exit, focusing on the decade of successful management, and a detailed plan for restoring profitability and confidence. We contrast it with Mark's erratic leadership and the public relations nightmare caused by his personal conduct becoming intertwined with the company's image. Eleanor is brutal and effective. She highlights the risk of letting Mark continue, the uncertainty of his strategy, the potential damage to the company's reputation. She makes it clear that my offer is a lifeline, a guaranteed return, a clean break. The VCs debate behind closed doors. The waiting is agonizing. Every minute stretches into an hour. My future, the fate of the company, rests on their decision. Finally, their representative emerges. He looks tired, but resolute. He doesn't smile. "We've reviewed both proposals," he says, his voice devoid of emotion. "And after careful consideration, we've decided to accept the offer from your group." A breath I didn't realize I was holding escapes in a shaky rush. It's done. They've accepted. The momentum shifts irrevocably. With the VCs on board, the other shareholders fall in line. The deal moves rapidly towards completion. The final details are ironed out in the subsequent days. The transfer of ownership, the legal transition. The day the deal officially closes is strangely anticlimactic. No dramatic fanfare, just signed papers and electronic transfers. But the climax, the moment of pure, unadulterated satisfaction, comes the next morning. I arrive at the company headquarters early, before most people are in. My legal team is with me. We walk through the lobby, past the receptionist whose eyes widen in disbelief. We ride the elevator up to the executive floor. The gray carpet still swallows sound, but today my heels click on it with a new resonance. A sound of arrival, of return. Mark's office door is open. He is sitting at his desk, looking stunned, staring at his computer screen. Sarah is standing near the window, clutching her handbag, her face pale and drawn. They didn't expect me to come in person, not like this, not immediately. They look up as I enter. Mark's jaw drops. Sarah takes a step back, bumping into the window pane. I walk into the office, which used to be just down the hall from mine. It feels different now. Smaller. Tainted. Mark finds his voice first. It's a strangled sound.
What?
What are you doing here? I stand in the center of the room, my briefcase still in hand. I place it on his desk. I'm here to start my new job, I say, my voice calm and level. As the new CEO. He stares at me, his eyes wide with disbelief. He looks from me to my legal team standing just outside the door. The reality crashes down on him. He underestimated me one last time, and it cost him everything. His face crumples, not in sadness, but in pure, impotent rage. Sarah lets out a small whimper. She looks utterly terrified. She looks at Mark, then at me, trapped. "Get out of my office, Sarah," I say, my voice sharp, cutting through the tense silence. She flinches. Mark finally reacts, turning to her. "Don't listen to her," he snaps, his voice shaking. "She has no authority here." One of my lawyers steps forward quietly. "Actually, she does, Mr. Stevenson. The acquisition is complete. As of 7 a.m. this morning, my client is the majority shareholder and the appointed chief executive officer. Your employment and Ms. Jenkins' employment are terminated. Effective immediately." Mark stares at the lawyer, then back at me. The color drains from his face completely. He opens his mouth, but no sound comes out. He's been blindsided, utterly dismantled. His arrogance, his assumption that he was untouchable, that he could simply discard me and build a new life with her on the foundation I helped create. It all comes crashing down. He didn't just lose his job. He lost the company, his status, his entire identity built around this place. Sarah looks at Mark, who is frozen, unable to speak or act. She looks at me, her face a mask of panic and defeat. She knows. She knows this is over. Her brief reign, built on betrayal and corporate maneuvering, is finished.
I
resign, she whispers, her voice barely audible. Accepted, I say, not bothering to soften my tone. Now, get out. She doesn't hesitate. She practically runs out of the office, past my lawyers, disappearing down the hall. I watch her go, a small, fleeting figure. The woman who took my job, now fleeing from the company I just bought. I turn back to Mark. He's still sitting there, slumped in his chair, staring at nothing. He looks smaller, weaker than I've ever seen him. The charismatic facade is gone, replaced by the face of a broken man. Security will be here shortly to escort you out, I say, my voice devoid of emotion. Pack your personal items and be ready. He finally looks at me, his eyes not empty anymore, but filled with a desperate, pleading look. You did this, he whispers. You actually did it. You started it. I reply, the words a simple, cold statement of fact. You fired me. You gave my job away. You built your future on destroying mine. This is just balancing the books. I don't wait for his response. I turn and walk out of the office, leaving him alone with his defeat. The aftermath is a strange mix of triumph and emptiness. I sit in the CEO's office, the one that was his that is now mine. The view is spectacular. The chair is comfortable. The power is palpable. But the victory feels quiet, satisfying, yes, deeply and profoundly satisfying, but not joyous.
Sarah is gone.
She resigned and vanished, presumably to find a new job somewhere far away from the wreckage. Mark was escorted out, his box of personal items small and pathetic. The divorce proceeds quickly now, his leverage is gone. He is stripped of his power, his public image shattered. He lost the company, the Mistress, at least her presence in his professional life, and soon he'll lose his stake in the empire he thought was solely his. Taking control of the company is a massive undertaking. There's chaos to sort through, demoralized employees to reassure, Mark's impulsive decisions to reverse. It's hard work, long hours, the kind of grind I excel at. I am back in my element, building, fixing, leading. This time on my own terms. There are moments when I walk the halls, see faces that were here before, and remember the person I was when I last walked these floors. The trusting wife, the dedicated partner, the woman who believed in a shared dream. She feels like a different person, someone I knew a long time ago. The pain of the betrayal is still there, a low ache beneath the surface, but it's no longer debilitating. It's a scar, a reminder of what I survived. Winning wasn't just about getting the company back, or even about getting revenge. It was about reclaiming my power, my worth, my identity. They tried to erase me, to make me small and irrelevant. But I refused. I fought back, not with anger alone, but with strategy, with resilience, with an understanding of the game they thought they were the only ones playing. The office is quiet now. The city lights twinkle outside the panoramic window. It's late. I'm alone. The company is stable, growing again. My plan is working. I built this, brick by brick, first with him, then against him, and finally for myself. It's a bittersweet victory. The cost was immense, personally and emotionally. But standing here in this space, having taken back what was stolen, it feels like I've finally closed a chapter. The pain might linger, but the shame is gone. The defeat is theirs, not mine. If this story hit close to home, I'd love to hear your version. Drop a comment with where you're listening from and what time it is. Thanks for being here. Subscribing helps bring more of these to life.